Hello, everyone, and this is going to be something a little different than what you're used to hearing from me with WLW. Today, I'm going to use the time I have driving right now for errands to talk about Monday Night Raw. Monday Night Raw has been, when it comes to WWE, the stronger of the two shows. NXT has been always there, and it has been a very, very great show, but Monday Night Raw is obviously the best in wrestling right now. Dynamite doesn't even compare. Collision, not even close, and SmackDown's worse than all of them. But Monday Night Raw was a huge big event this past Monday, and we'll get into it. So Monday Night Raw, it started with Oba Femi. And if you know me, you know I'm a big Oba Femi guy. I love when Oba talks. I think he's great. But today, talking wasn't necessary. Today was, Oba's here. He's here to stay. And if you don't want to see Oba, don't watch the product. That's just the way it is. Oba is going to take over professional wrestling. I've been saying it for months, even years now, since I saw him at NXT. I've said, this dude has it. He has the Steve Austin feel. He has the Rock feel. The crowd is behind him, and there is no stopping this young man who's only 27. He's going to be a world champion by the end of 2026. That's my bold prediction. Enough said about that. Time to get into the next segment and the next big thing that occurred. WWE's new women's champion, Liv Morgan, won at WrestleMania versus Stephanie Becker in an okay match, but due to Liv's injury, there's a reason why that happened, but it is what it is. She came out, she cut a promo about how she's the greatest women's wrestler of all time, so on and so forth, and Sol Ruca debuted. Now, Sol Ruca is one of the best women's wrestlers I've seen in 5 or 6 years. She's up there with Vaquer and Io Sky when it comes to in-ring work. Sol Ruca's finisher is just insane. The Soul Snatcher is beautiful. And she came out and said she was impressed with Liv, and Liv inspires her, and Liv did the heel thing of saying, I don't care, I didn't do it for you, so on and so forth. And, well, it set up a match between the two where Liv won. But there was a Soul Snatcher in the match that was incredible, and there was a fucking phenomenal reversal to the Oblivion by Sol Ruca, and it just shows that she's going to be a top player on Raw when she eventually comes to the show. The next piece I want to talk about, not so much the matches, but if you like the wrestling, you'll just watch the matches on Monday, but there was a teaser between Javon Evans and Penta, possibly teasing a feud down the line. But then All Ego Ethan Page debuted, and All Ego Ethan Page gets a win on Monday Night Raw. But Javon Evans, I mean, he's going to be a future Intercontinental Champion. He's great. He's a fucking phenomenal talent. I loved what they showcased in this match. He's there. All Ego is an up-and-comer. That dude oozes charisma. I wouldn't be shocked if he was Intercontinental Champion as well as we move forward in this mid-card that's slowly getting more and more stacked. Then there was the CM Punk promo, and I'm going to spend a little bit of time talking about that because it was a emotional one for me. Look, I'm a huge Punk guy. I've been a Punk guy my whole life. I've grown up with Punk. He kept me in wrestling when it got really bland in 2011. And I was a huge Punk guy as a kid. What this promo felt like was Punk telling the world that, he's not going to go home, he's not going to do... But it felt as though he was holding something back that he wanted to say. And I felt it during WrestleMania, and I felt it tonight. Punk's time in WWE is coming to an end soon. And that's a hard pill for me to swallow. He's getting up there in age. He had one of probably the greatest main events in WWE history on Sunday, and they beat the piss out of each other, and it was a great story where Punk's body gave out. But what stuck with me is the fact that the mannerisms of Punk and just studying how his face is reacting, his eyes, and you know, it felt like this was like he was looking around, taking it in, like, man, I'm not going to get much more of these, and that hurts because, you know, I love Punk, and I think Phil is one of the greatest wrestlers, if not the greatest wrestler in my eyes, because he has it all. He can put on great matches. If he never left WWE, I think he could have and Vince wasn't such a fucking douchebag, I think there's a chance that Punk would be considered the greatest of all time. I think he would put on main events that no one could touch, and it's been proven in the past 2 years when they let a main event both shows, and they were top 10 main events of all time, in my opinion. But, you know, I honestly thought Punk was going to announce this was his last year, just by the feeling of that promo. But he didn't. He said he's not going to leave, and he's here to stay, per se, and that was you know, an interesting thing for me, because I thought that he would, you know, not. But it was cool to see that the crowd still loves him, and they're never going to stop chanting his name, whether he's here or not. But as I've said before, his time is running out here. It's age. But as this promo is going on, Cody Rhodes comes out. Now, the interesting thing about Cody Rhodes is if you want SmackDown to get better, if you want SmackDown to be more interesting, you put Punk on the brand. Raw is so fucking good right now, you don't need CM Punk. Put one of your aces in the hole on SmackDown. And what did they do? They teased a match between Punk and Cody, where Cody said, name the time, name the place, pretty much. So could we be getting Cody Punk at Backlash? I don't think so. I think it's going to be Randy Cody again at Backlash. But I think what is showcased was possibly Punk going to the blue brand, which I am all for. Because Raw is so fucking stacked with Gunther, Roman, Seth, Braun Breaker, Oba Femi. You need guys to go on that brand to elevate it, and Punk would be that guy. Whether he becomes champion or not, it doesn't matter. The feuds he could have with Aleister Black, he's a big fan of Malachi. The feuds he could have with Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton. I mean, the list goes on and on. Solo Sikoa. I mean, there are people that you could put in those places that would make the show infinitely more interesting. And I hope and I pray that they pull that trigger. And if that's because if Punk wins the title, great. Cody turns heel. And then we have an interesting Cody Rhodes segment, and that would be phenomenal. And we have our next build for WrestleMania. Cody Punk, heel Cody. I think that would be fantastic. But putting Punk on the blue brand in some way, shape, or form, I think is a no fucking brainer. Especially with the bloated brand that Raw has right now and all of the talent that's being called up. Fuck, they didn't send All Ego to SmackDown, they sent him to Raw, and you know, that's fine, but SmackDown's the show that's suffering. You gotta give SmackDown someone to work with, and I think Punk could be that guy. But as the show winded down, I think there's another match I want to talk about a bit. I know I said I didn't want to, but there is one. JD McDonough and Finn Balor. Phenomenal main event. Those two know each other. They could probably wrestle each other 12 times out of 100. And that match is never going to be bad. There's probably maybe one time that match would be bad. They know each other so well. Finn trained JD. The in-ring performance, it was just out of this world. But the ending felt rushed because I think they wanted to do more, but time was an issue because of the final segment, which is going to spend the last bit of this video I'll talk about. But yeah, Finn Balor comes away with the win. JD McDonough showcased why he's good. I think this feud's far from over, as much as I hate to say it. I want JD and Finn to headline a PLE at some point. I know it's not going to happen. Their ring chemistry is too good to waste. And you saw it in this match, whether it be reversals or setups for moves. These two can work. And that's the important thing for me, is the storytelling in the ring. And they told a hell of a story. And JD's ribs was a big part of that, where his ribs kept giving out and he couldn't handle it. And the coup de grace at the end felt sweeter because of that. But, you know, when it comes to these two, they know each other so well that it doesn't matter. You know, the in-ring storytelling is, look, these two have trained with each other their whole lives. Finn brought him under his wing, and now he got stabbed in the back, and JD was fine with stabbing him in the back. That's a huge story. That's a big story. But that's enough of that match. Finn Balor comes away with a win with a coup de grace after he wins with the Demon at WrestleMania. Now let's talk about the final segment. While I'm excited about Roman Reigns, I'm excited more for what they can do with him, the feuds they can tease, Gunther being one of them. I think Roman Gunther is a great match, and that match could steal any PLE. I think their styles mesh well, and I was hoping Gunther would come out. Another person he's gonna feud with is Oba Femi, and I think Roman will lose that match. I think Roman will lose the title to Oba at some point in 2026. Oba's probably gonna win King of the Ring, and then go on to face Roman, pin him, and then Roman will be probably on his last leg, career-wise, and maybe one more run with Seth might be what they're gonna do with Roman. Maybe one final go, and then you have your swan song at WrestleMania. But what I was not expecting, but what I didn't know I needed in my life, is what they did. Jacob Fatu and Roman Reigns. Two Samoans, not related, but good God. Jacob Fatu, after beating Drew McIntyre, was oozing this want to be champion. And now he's got Drew behind him, and now he's looking at Roman. And for me, I fucking love this. I love the idea that Roman Reigns and Jacob Fatu are going to feud, because it tells me one thing about the both of them. It tells me that WWE is putting their faith in Jacob Fatu to work with one of their top guys, and that makes me happy for two reasons. One, you can finally believe someone to be wrestling Roman, and if Roman loses, you can believe it. If like with Oba, if Roman loses to Oba, you can believe that he would lose to Oba. But Jacob Fatu has been dominant. He's showcased that he can hang with the big guys, and, you know, they teased this feud a while back, but it never happened because of Jacob's injury. But now we're at a point where you can use this feud to grow Jacob Fatu. Even if Jacob Fatu loses, if he looks good, it's going to put him over. He's already over. The crowd was chanting Fatu over OTC. I mean, that in itself is a feat with how over Roman's been recently. But, man, Jacob Fatu, when he spoke, you believed it. It was real. When he said, I don't want the title, I need the title. I need this for my family. I want to put food on the table. I need. And I believed every fucking word he said that came out of his mouth. Roman as well. These two put on a hell of a promo, hell of a show, and Jacob Fatu going into Backlash, I know he's not going to win, but my God, I believed for a moment that he's going to do everything in his power to win, and I'm excited to see what they do at Backlash, and I'm excited to see how Backlash goes. Now, if SmackDown, if it flops, it'll flop. I might talk about it, I might not. I'm not too sure yet, but this is my first ever Raw review. This Raw Mania, after Mania, was a 8 out of 10. The matches were great, the segments were great, and like I said, it sets up future feuds and future things that I'm excited for in WWE. I was worried after WrestleMania Night 1 that we weren't going to really have any feuds, but Jacob Fatu, Roman Reigns, man, there's some legs to that. Not only that, but LA Knight with Gunther, they teased that as well, probably at Backlash. That's going to be good because of their in-ring work. But, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you all enjoyed. Like I said, WLW will be returning in May, but I might be doing more of these. Who knows? Let me know if it's a good idea or not. If my opinions are valid, or if there's any sort of interest in this. Just let me know. And, yeah. You all have a great evening. And if this works out, I might do one on SmackDown. Who knows? But, thanks.